Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, and I know that you're getting this on a Saturday, but I've been really crazy busy because I'm going away next week on holiday, so just everything has been a bit manic, so I'm a day late. But I thought, you know what, I'll let the dust settle a little bit before I report on this. But as I'm sure most of you know, that Meghan Markle has been seen out and about, and there's obviously various stories that are coming out about those two. So I'm going to chat a little bit about this on this wet and rainy Saturday. So if you have nothing better to do, then sit back, relax and join me in this video. And if you want to drop in the comments your drink of choice that you are having today, then please do, because if you want to also add a little something because it's the weekend, but also because the flag says behind me, and yes, you are correct, it is 5 o'clock somewhere. So grab your drink and let's dive right in. So a lot of things I have been seeing in the media recently. Now, as much as all of you know, I am not a fan of Meghan Markle, but I am not a fan of Meghan Markle's behaviour. And I think that there is enough there to explore her behaviour. What I'm not a fan of is when I saw this picture come up and people have attacked her looks and calling her ugly, etc. Now, I think that she has an ugly personality. I think that's the way she's behaved. I don't like narcissists, and so I will never support somebody who behaves that way. But I feel it makes us just as bad. You know, when we talk about the cult squad and we talk about the way they attack Catherine, which they do. I mean, there was the photograph of the Remembrance Sunday, and Catherine's pictures come up, and they've attacked her looks. And I really dislike that, because I just think there's no need to do that. That when, as women, what I dislike the most is when I see women tearing other women down. And if you watch any of my videos, you never see me do that. I might say that I feel that something Meghan is wearing is not ideal for her, probably doesn't suit her frame, but I won't attack her. And so even though I'm mentioning this photograph, more so because I am frustrated with how the cult squad seem to be able to bully somebody to take down a photograph. And this woman was a fan of Meghan. And people have come out and said, well, they think Meghan was behind it. And maybe she was, which is a bit silly because it has circulated now. And whether or not this woman takes it down, it's now being circulated everywhere. And does it show Meghan Markle perhaps at her best? Maybe not. But I don't feel there is a need to attack her appearance. I mean, I do think that I believe she is taking Ozempic. And if you look at this particular photograph, and there is a photograph showing that someone is taking this photograph because somebody has said that this woman photoshopped it. I don't believe she did. And I think it's a shame that she was bullied into taking this picture down. But this goes to show you how deranged the fan base has become, in the fact that they must feel that this is not a nice photograph of Meghan, because if they were a true fan, which they proclaim to be, they wouldn't care. They wouldn't care that perhaps Meghan is out there in a way looking like a lot of celebrities do when they're not fully made up. You know, a lot of celebrities don't look their best, but that's normal. You know, when I wake up in the morning, I don't look like how I come on camera. I probably look a right mess. You know, my hair's scruffy. You know, I've got no makeup on, or I might have last night's makeup on. That's normal. And I think it's really sad that we've got into a society now that unless you are Botox to the hilt, or you have got so many filters on, or you have, I mean there's pressure enough out there for women, and I will include men as well in that, but mainly women. There is pressure enough for women to look a certain way without leading the charge in using a dislike for Meghan's behaviour to attack her looks. This woman's allowed to like Meghan Markle. That is the beauty of having the freedom of choice. And I think, like I say, we can't attack the cult squad for attacking Catherine in her looks and her shape and her frame, but then we do exactly the same with Meghan. The difference being is that Catherine doesn't do anything that's awful behaviour. Meghan does. So we have enough there to critique Meghan, to critique Harry, without going into attacking a poor woman for putting up a photograph and bullying her. But that I'm going to say it because I noticed it, and people have said, you know, have you seen this picture and have you noticed it? And yes, I have. But that is all I will say on the matter on that one. Because there's enough. Let's be honest. There is enough. You know, we've had Harry coming out doing, I don't even know what it was, when he did his little video where he's trying to be comedic and wearing his Jubilee medals and just looking utterly, I'm sorry, but just utterly ridiculous. He you know, to me, this guy is not a natural, funny person. It looks very orchestrated, and he just looks odd. And so we've had that, and so we've got the media out in force, and I'm guessing this is a lot to do with her management agency as well, in the way that this is depicted in so Meghan Markle coming out for the Variety Power of Women gala, and she's wearing beige, which was a colour that obviously she critiqued the royal family for always making her wear beige. And yet I've seen her wear beige so much since apparently leaving the royal family. You'd think that she would make the most of the colours if she was always forced to wear beige, even though in the royal family we've seen her wear colours. So that was silly. But so she's there, and I've seen the videos. And thank you for the people that have sent me things to watch, where she's on the red carpet. And I'm not going to say what a lot of the media is saying, her return to the red carpet. This woman was never Hollywood. This woman, you know, this was Suits. This was a cable show. She was never part of Hollywood. This whole thing was her return to Hollywood, her return to the red carpet. I mean, okay, she might have appeared on a red carpet, but let's not make it more than what it is. I mean, let's be honest. And so she's there, and obviously there is a line, and obviously there's the photographers, and you kind of get your little slot and you move along. Not Meghan. She was going to hog that limelight for all it's worth. And to the point where she started giving interviews and then almost had to be ushered off. It was like, come on, you've had your minute. There are other people here. And I just think that it's quite hilarious how she just does it. And this is classic narcissistic behavior. It is me, myself, and I, and that is it. It's like, but you've also got to look at the fact that this woman, regardless of how she got there, at one moment in time, there was a moment when she had probably the world at her feet. And this was before people realised who she was. There was a moment when the stars aligned, or whatever it was, and she married Harry. And I'm not talking about all the things that were going on behind the scenes, but there was a moment when everyone was all cooing over her and thinking how amazing she was, She had the world at her feet. And she blew it in the most fundamental way, in my opinion. And the reason is because she's a narcissist. And like I've said in my other videos, I believe that she is a psychopath. And what I believe is that when you turn up to an award like this, where you've got celebrities who have earned the right to be there, these celebrities must feel so frustrated with her, especially when they probably read the media and it's all about her. The media, and I am going to get into Omid Scobie's book, by the way, guys. I haven't forgotten. I have not forgotten. I'm just mentioning this little bit first. These women have worked so hard and do so much probably behind the scenes. And there this woman rocks up who's done a cable show. It wasn't even the main part in the cable show, but then has grifted and used and abused her way up to marrying one of the most eligible bachelors, which at the time obviously was Prince Harry. And then has used that position to push her way into wherever she can. And then on top of that, the very family that gave her the means to be voted in people or in anything, to be at these awards, she has done nothing but trash and abuse. And the fact that these people, these celebrities that are going up, and you know, and I absolutely know that she, you know, this is why she tries to sit next to them. This is why these media puff pieces are put out where, oh, Meghan gets on a private plane with Cameron Diaz, and you know, and yet they probably don't even speak to her. They might have got on the same plane. They may have. But I would imagine that they are probably polite, but when you look at then when she sits down, there's no photographs of her sitting with anyone that's of anyone. And I think that they don't want to be around her. But what she does is she pushes her way in. And I absolutely believe this is what EMMAWELLS does. So any of the donations that come in, they use the money for that. They do their odd little bit where they give an odd little percentage, a few $100,000 here and there to a charity to make it seem like they're actually doing something with that money. But the rest of it, she uses, I believe, and probably even Harry, they use that money to buy their way into places because she is a networker, but she is a grifting networker. So she will put herself in situations, and this is why we're now seeing her, like I've said before, going to awards, going to concerts, because she is pushing her way in. You know, we've seen Harry come out recently where he's been photographed with a billionaire. And a lot of that is ego. It's like, oh, look at my friends. They're the rich and famous. But I would imagine he's probably schmoozing them behind the scenes of like, oh, I've got these great ideas. I'm going to pitch this. Do you fancy, you know, donating a few million to EMMAWELLS to make that happen? And of course, then there she is and she's teasing, oh, big things are going to be happening. Really? Like what? Like what? Because no offense, you've been teasing big things are going to be happening, and all we've really had is a failed podcast, a cartoon that failed, that never even got off the ground really, a Netflix mocu-series which was trashed, and that's kind of it, really. That's it. There's nothing else. So all these things that she is talking about, I mean, I would imagine that she's going to try and do those things, but I think that they're going to fail like everything else. And the reason being is because she has no consistency. She doesn't want to work. She just wants people to do it for her, but she wants to put her name to it to make it seem that it's this most amazing thing they've come up with. But actually, she doesn't really do anything behind the scenes, and the same with Harry. You know, so this to me was just another PR event to push her in, like I've said before, in her moving away from Harry. And I think this is what she does. She tests the waters. She does things. She moves herself away from him to try and see as if how it goes with her on her own. And then when she realizes that actually nobody's that interested in her, do you really think that this WME one, this is the first or second biggest agency out there, signed her because she's just Meghan Markle and she's so talented? No, they signed her because she's married to the Prince of the royal family. That's it. Not because she's a super talent. Because if she was talented, then Hollywood would have knocked at her door before she even come to the UK, and she would have been having all of these things coming to her, but they're not. The only reason she's got even just a semblance of something now is because she married into the royal family, which is ironic given how much the Cult Squad, their fan base, which they've never called out, by the way, which they never said, hang on a minute, you need to stop this bullying. We're so against online bullying and we need to call out our own fan base who are really terrible. Don't do that. And yet she's got this, this being promoted as this strong woman of the year. No, she's not. No, she's not at all. The only thing she's number one with that I can see is that she's been voted number one in being the most irritating, annoying celebrity. Harry comes in at number two, and then it's Oprah Winfrey. They've even beat Amber Heard. That's how bad it is. And yes, she's so disliked. And regardless of how they're being propped up in the media, they are disliked. They are disliked. And I think they are disliked by the public. They are disliked by celebrities, but she is just so desperate. So when you see her on this red carpet event where she's and not even just standing, having a picture taking and then gracefully walking off, it's all the posing that she's doing. Celebrity. Well, okay, love, if you want to be a celebrity, crack on, go do that, but get rid of those titles. Leave those titles. Put them down. To me, they are having both at the moment. They've got the attachment to the royals with these titles, and she's attempting to be a celebrity, and I think even Harry's probably trying to as well. To me, you cannot have it both. When you look at William and Catherine, when they go to awards, they stand, they have their picture taken, they maybe talk for a little bit and they walk off, and that's it. They don't stand there posing and doing side to side and pouting and, as if she's, like I say, part of the Hollywood elite, which she's so desperate for. So desperate for. I am going to talk a little bit about the dress because it is very obvious that I genuinely don't understand does anyone dress this woman? Or does she genuinely dress herself and not see it? Because the seam goes straight up, and yet she's got it off the shoulder. And I'm guessing in an attempt to look sexy, I'm assuming, the off the shoulder. But you can clearly see that this dress is meant to be, I'm assuming that it's supposed to go across this way because the seam goes straight down, and it looks as if it's just slipped off and she's not corrected it. To me, this woman has got something where she looks at herself, and I absolutely know this is obviously ego as well, but she genuinely does look at herself and see something, because if there's anyone advising her, which I would be very hard to kind of see if there is, given how narcissists behave. But A, I wouldn't want their job, but B, they really have got it so wrong, because she generally doesn't wear things that suit her frame, and then when she does wear something, she wears it completely wrong. And it just doesn't suit her, I would say. But anyway, so this leads me on to that man. And all I can say is he is the epitome of being the biggest wooden spoon stirrer I've ever known. I mean, don't get me wrong, I think things were fraught with the royal family given what's happened. And obviously we've had the things coming out of that Harry called King Charles on his birthday. Meghan spoke to him. But what was very weird was there was a pre-recorded video that was sent to him, King Charles, of the 2 alleged children wishing him happy birthday. Who does that? Who rings up their father-in-law, grandfather, and then sends them a pre-recorded video of the children rather than having the children on camera? Could that be because A, this phone call never happened, B, there is no way that they would send a pre-recorded video for the risk of it being taken and scrutinised? No way. And C, that it just didn't happen. It just didn't happen. Just no. But we have to have that because it's also a constant reminder of, don't forget we've got children. Don't forget that we are okay. So, but let's look at the fact that, just say, for example, this did happen. I don't believe it did, but let's just say for argument's sake it did. Well, that would mean that there was just a tiny little thawing in perhaps the relationship between King Charles and his son. And what happens? Literally, as the phone has gone down and those video recordings have just been put to rest, out comes Omid Scobie with his Endgame book. And isn't it funny again how the release happened around little snippets around King Charles's birthday? And what I would imagine that probably Scobie wanted that put out probably either just before or on the birthday to take away from the birthday. But I would imagine just for once, the media have probably sat on it and thought, well, we're not going to do it on King Charles's birthday, but we'll release it just after. Because it seems very odd to me that this has happened just after King Charles's birthday, and here we have the first snippets of his most ridiculous book. I think the one saving grace is that nobody takes this man seriously. He's already been triggered because in the media it's coming out that he is tweeting things like this, and so he's already getting upset with the backlash that's coming. And of course he's put out that, no, they had nothing to do with this book, we're not friends. Well, that was kind of what you said last time, and then it come out in court that actually Harry and Meghan did have something to do with your book. There were conversations. You did meet Prince Harry for a drink at a local pub. And so you lie. And once you lie, your credibility is gone. So when you come out and you get immensely triggered by something like this, and you're putting out this kind of statement, one doth protest too much, methinks. And so I'm wondering if there is, again, this where Harry and Meghan have put out this statement of, we're done with the royals, we're not going to attack them anymore. No, but what you're going to do is you're going to use this little man, little weasel, to do that for you. And that's exactly what he's done. How he can print that utter drivel regarding the Queen's death is beyond me. I think it's disgusting. I think it's distasteful. I think it is egregious in that we've just had King Charles's birthday and that's the snippets that have been released. I feel so sad for this family because it just never ends. They must literally feel that they just have a breather and then it's like, oh, what next? Have a breather, oh, what next? And so here we have it again. And it's to me, you know, I do get angry about this because I get angry with the media that keep giving this little idiot airtime. To me, he should be blacklisted. Omid Scobie should be blacklisted from ever calling himself a royal reporter, because he's not. He's a Harry and Meghan sycophant. He should ever be allowed anywhere near the royal family. And the fact that he puts these sources that are high up people in the palace that have told him this, sorry, no, I don't believe it for 1 second. What I think is that he's had conversations with Harry, and Harry has whinged and whined, or Meghan has, and then he's added his own little twist in there to embellish in what has been said. The fact that he is creating William to be power hungry, working for the press, I kind of think you're talking about the wrong brother. I really do think you're talking about the wrong brother here, because in my experience and the stuff that I've learned is that Meghan, there were no real leaks in that palace until Meghan come along, and suddenly it started leaking like a tap. And then all of a sudden, you know, you've got stuff that's coming out in regards to Harry, who has been orchestrating things behind the scenes. When you look at the evidence, there is no evidence of the palace leaking anything, but there's plenty of evidence of Harry and Meghan doing it. So who are you inclined to believe? Are we inclined to believe Tom Bower, who has written a book but never been sued in what he said in regards to the royal family? You know, and I think that this is just, he is a vulture and he's a parasite, in my opinion. And he just, it's like he's just picking the bone of this family and the grief that they've gone through. And I just think it's absolutely appalling. And where is the outrage from Harry and Meghan? Where is the outrage of what he is saying? Nothing. Now, they're quite happy to be outraged about other things, but they're not outraged at what he said. They're not outraged at Netflix for the atrocious episodes that are coming out with The Crown. And I think that this is just indicative of our times now, where social media is a place where, to some degree, we can find the truth. The mainstream media are not interested in the truth. They're just interested in I can't even find the right words to say how despicable I think that this is, because, you know, they stir this pot. They allow this man to come on and talk his drivel. He's no different to that Dr. Shola woman, who I absolutely immensely dislike. She's another one that I think that should not have to be given airtime. And I think, you know, but this is what he is doing. He is coming out and he has twisted the knife in one of the most saddest situations with the late Queen's passing, making it seem that, you know, everyone was against Harry, that William ignored his calls, or the fact that his grandmother is ill and he's probably running around trying to organise things and sort out the children and make sure Catherine's okay and make sure his dad's okay, and he's probably on the phone to various other people. But what does Harry do? He makes it about himself. When we all know by now that one of the reasons he was late is because he was arguing with Meghan because she wanted to go and she was being told she couldn't go. Catherine didn't go. Harry cannot take responsibility for anything. And the fact that they're now using this vile little man to release more information about this family, private information, but it's not even true. It's embellished information that he's probably got some bits that are true, and he's just added his little thing in there to make it more juicy, just so people buy his book. It's just disgusting. It's just disgusting, in my opinion, that there's another person that's just so desperate for fame and money that is willing to just say and do whatever it takes to get there. No wonder he's Meghan's fan. No wonder. And if you look at the way the fan base behave, they're all the same type of person, just vile, nasty people. And that, if that's your fan base, that really does show more about who you are. And like I say, and where is the outrage for the crown? I mean, I've watched the first 4 episodes because I wanted to talk about it. And I'm going to talk about it more in length when it's finished. But honestly, it made me sick. It made me feel sick. I can't believe that they thought that this was a good idea. To me, they should have just stopped. They should have just stopped. I actually quite liked The Crown when it first started. I thought it was interesting. To me, it's just and the sad thing is, it just creates all of that hate again. And I can see that they've tried to change this, you know, because obviously they saw the backlash. I'm guessing that William and not William, King Charles and Camilla received after the last season. So they've clearly tried to show that Charles had a relationship with Diana, as in like they were friends. And they were friends. And this is the crazy thing. They were actually getting on really well. They were really trying to co-parent with William and Harry, because they absolutely, between the two of them, they did have a love for each other. They just weren't in love. And I think they were just very, very different people. Camilla was very well suited with Charles. She was, you know, she's a calming influence. I think she's a strong, stoic, which, you know, King Charles almost reminds me of someone that he almost needs a mother figure. You know, I think he's a very passionate man, but I think he probably tends to fly off the handle a little bit at times. He lets his emotions get away with him, and he needs a calming influence, someone that's going to go, just breathe. Just breathe. If you bring into the mix someone that's highly strung, or someone that's sensitive and perhaps reacts to when you react, it can lead to quite an explosive situation. And I think that was the difference with Prince Charles and Princess Diana, was they're probably similar temperaments, obviously being that she was younger. And so it was obviously quite volatile. But I do think he loved her, and they were friends. But what you see is that this has stirred up all of this. I mean, imagine being Prince William's, just knowing that this is out there again, the stuff around his mother, and again painting Princess Diana to be a saint. Princess Diana was just a normal person with flaws. And I think people forget that. She messed up. She did things too. She wasn't perfect. Nobody is. Put her on this pedestal, and they almost create King Charles to be the villain. And I think that that's really sad. And so it's rearing all of this up again. I've seen the comments where people are like, oh, that never happened. You know, King Charles, you know, Prince Charles at the time hated Diana, and he probably wanted her to go. I cannot even understand the mindset of the people that say things like this, because it's so, just, if nothing else, he loved his children, and he would not have ever wanted to hurt his children. You know, this ludicrous behaviour, and then blaming the British press again. They were in Paris. It wasn't the British press that were chasing them. It was the French paparazzi that were chasing them. But somehow the British press, who were bad, but they get the blame for that. It's just madness. The whole thing is just madness. And I think it's really sad how this is again thrown all of this up for this family who are just trying to get on. Just trying to put all this behind and get on. And I'm sorry, I'm having a hot flush. So I'm speaking. So yeah, so I feel very frustrated with everything that's going on at the moment. But I wanted to talk about it, and I wanted to bring it here and give you my thoughts and my opinions, as I always do. And if you've liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed and would like to do so, then please think about doing so. I seem to be periodically getting reported again. So please make sure that you watch this video and then fast forward it to the end if you want to miss some of it. Please share because the views, my views are getting hit again, and it would be really nice to get more views. And if you want to email me, you can. If you want to send me something, you can. If you want to join me on my other channels, you can. If you want to join me on Instagram and TikTok, I'm over there. Please don't forget to join up on my other channels, which is Coffee and Celebrities and Tea and Therapy. And if you want to know the links to those, they are in the description box below. But if you fast forward to the end of this video, you'll see 2 circles just below 2 other the videos, and you can click on those and they take you to Tea and Therapy and Coffee and Celebrities. They take you straight there. I am, as I've said, away next week, but I will be doing one video before I go, and it's a very interesting video, and it's some information that I've sent and I've looked at, and I found a link. I was sent a link and I looked at it, and it's some snippets from, and I do believe that this is true, but it's snippets from a certain diary. So I'm going to talk about that because I want you to give me your thoughts and opinions on what you think and whether you think this is real, and I'm going to explain why I think that it is, and hopefully you will enjoy that video. So in the meantime, have a wonderful weekend, whatever you are doing, and I will see you in the video that I do next week. And yeah, and as always, just enjoy, and I love you, I appreciate you, but most of all, I respect you. Take care. Bye-bye.